The antiseptic stench burned my nostrils, mingling with the sickeningly sweet aroma of hospital oranges left to rot on my bedside tray. I hadn't touched them, couldn't eat. Not when every breath sent white-hot daggers through my abdomen where they'd carved the tumor from my body just 2 days ago. The blinds were half drawn, casting prison bar shadows across my hospital bed, as the late spring sun mocked my confinement with its cheerful glow. I watched the morphine drip through the IV line, counting each precious drop. They had promised it would be over soon, the fear that had consumed me for months, the indignity of paper-thin hospital gowns, the terrible vulnerability of placing my life in strangers' hands. Just one more day of observation, the doctors had said. One more day, and I could begin to reclaim my life. Then came the knock. 3 sharp raps that seemed to echo through my drug-hazed consciousness, not the gentle tap of a nurse or the confident rhythm of a doctor's knuckles. This was the sound of my world about to collapse. Mrs. Ava Carter. A nurse I hadn't seen before peered around the door, her expression guarded, almost apologetic. There was something in her eyes' pity that sent ice water flooding through my veins. "There's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent." I tried to push myself upright, wincing as fire licked across my stitches. "Family." My voice sounded foreign to my own ears, raspy from the intubation tube they'd jammed down my throat during surgery. "A Mr. Turner, real estate agent." The words hit me like a physical blow. Real estate. My fingers clutched at the thin hospital blanket. What? Before I could marshal my scattered thoughts, the door swung wide, and a man in an expensive suit with a grotesquely cheerful yellow tie strode in. His leather portfolio was tucked under his arm like a weapon, his smile too bright, too practiced. "Mrs. Carter." He stepped forward, hand outstretched, before noticing my IV and awkwardly withdrawing it. "I'm so sorry to disturb you at such a difficult time, but we have a small hiccup with the final paperwork." "What paperwork?" My throat constricted, panic rising like bile. He flipped open the folder, revealing documents bearing signatures I didn't recognize. "Your husband signed off on the sale of the house on Bloomfield Avenue yesterday, but there's a discrepancy with the joint ownership clause. We need your signature to finalize the transaction." The room tilted sideways. "Sale?" My voice cracked, breaking on the single syllable, "What sale?" The man froze, his professional veneer cracking as understanding dawned in his eyes. "Your husband said you were both aligned on this decision." He swallowed visibly. "The movers arrived this morning. They're clearing out the property as we speak." My heart thundered against my ribs, each beat a sledgehammer of betrayal. With trembling fingers, I reached for my phone on the bedside table. The screen lit up with notifications, 3 missed calls from Lila, my sister. One text message that shattered what remained of my world. "Ava, call me now. Moving trucks are here, emptying your house. Aaron says you're relocating after surgery. He's supervising them, packing everything." What's happening? Relocating. That house had been my sanctuary for 10 years. I'd painted the nursery with my own hands, once full of hope. The hydrangeas out front, planted with my grandmother, were the last piece of her I had left. I had already lost her. Now I was losing everything else. "I'm sorry," I told Mr. Turner, my voice finding new strength in the white-hot furnace of my rage. "But I never agreed to sell our house, and I certainly didn't sign any paperwork." His expression shifted from confusion to concern, his Adam's apple bobbing as he swallowed hard. "Mrs. Carter, perhaps I should speak with your husband directly about this matter." "Yes," I said, my fingers already dialing Lila's number. "Perhaps you should—" After he left, Lila answered on the first ring. He's selling the house. I whispered, tears scalding my cheeks. While I'm trapped in this hospital bed. I know, she said, her voice tight with barely contained fury. I'm standing in your living room right now watching strangers pack up your life. Aaron told the movers you'd agreed to everything before your surgery. Said you were excited about some luxury condo downtown. What condo? My voice rose shrilly. Lila, I don't know anything about this. Nothing. That's what I thought, she said grimly. Listen to me, Ava. I think Aaron's been planning this for a while. The way he's directing these movers, the selective way he's handling your belongings, this isn't impulsive. Something is very, very wrong. The next morning, Dr. Reynolds came to check my incision sites. Your healing is progressing nicely, she said, making notes on her tablet. But I'm concerned about your blood pressure. You seem distressed. I hesitated, then told her about the house about Aaron. She frowned. Mrs. Carter, emotional stress can significantly impact post-operative recovery. The standard protocol would be to keep you another day. But I understand you have urgent matters to address. I'm going to discharge you with strict instructions for limited movement and rest. No lifting anything heavier than 5 pounds. No driving for at least a week. Can your sister stay with you? Yes, I said. She can. 2 hours later, Leela helped me into her car, a pillow cushioning my abdomen from the seatbelt. We're not going to the house yet, she said firmly. You're staying with me until we figure this out. At Lila's apartment, I called Sam Jenkins, an old college friend who had become a property attorney specializing in real estate fraud. Ava, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this during your recovery, he said after I explained the situation. Let me ask you something important. Whose name is on the deed now? I thought back. We both were on the mortgage, but I paused, remembering. Last year, after my grandmother's inheritance, I paid off the mortgage. The bank sent paperwork transferring the deed to my name alone for tax purposes. Aaron agreed. He said it made sense financially. So the house is solely in your name now? Sam asked. Yes, I realized it is. Then legally, he cannot sell it without your consent. Sam said, if the closing hasn't happened yet, we can file an emergency affidavit with the title company and the county recorder's office. If the sale was somehow pushed through, that would constitute fraud, potentially identity theft and forgery, all serious criminal offenses. I felt a strange mix of relief and dread. What do I do now? First, I'll send you an authorization form, sign it, and send it back to me immediately. It gives me permission to request copies of all documents filed with the county regarding your property. Then document everything. Screenshot any text messages, save emails, record phone calls if legal in your state. Don't confront Aaron alone. And let me make some calls to the title company right away. Sam paused, his voice growing more serious. Ava, if Aaron attempted to forge your signature on legal documents, this could be part of a larger pattern. Have you noticed any unusual financial activity recently? I've been focused on my health for months. I admitted, Aaron has been handling all our finances. As soon as you feel up to it, we need to check your credit report and bank statements. 3 days later, Aaron texted me. We need to talk. The condo is ready. I've put our things in storage until you're well enough to help arrange them. Here's the address and key code. I showed Lila the message. He's acting like this is all normal. He's gaslighting you, she said. Classic manipulation. He's trying to make you doubt your own reality. Sam had moved quickly. He'd contacted the title company, who confirmed they'd received paperwork with what appeared to be my signature, notarized by someone named Patricia Winters. Sam had filed an emergency affidavit contesting the sale, which temporarily halted the closing. The realtor and the buyers are understandably upset, Sam explained during our conference call. But the title company has placed an indefinite hold on the transaction. While they investigate, I've also filed a report with the county about a potentially fraudulent deed transfer. What about the notary? I asked. I'm looking into that, Sam replied. Each notary has a unique stamp and ID number registered with the state, If this Patricia Winters falsely notarized your forged signature, that's another serious offense. With Sam's advice, I agreed to meet Aaron at a cafe near Lila's apartment the following day. Sam recommended a public place where Lila could sit nearby. Aaron arrived looking polished as always, but there was a new tightness around his eyes. "Ava," he said, sliding into the booth across from me, "you should be resting." "I've been resting at Lila's," I replied evenly. "Aaron, why did you sell our house without telling me?" He sighed, as if I were being unreasonable. "I told you about the condo downtown. You said it looked nice." "When exactly did I say that?" "You texted me back, 'looks good,' when I sent you the photos." My heart sank. "Aaron, that was the morning of my surgery. I was being prepped for anesthesia. The nurse was using my phone to check if my medical insurance was active. She must have seen your message and responded thinking it was about the insurance forms." A flicker of something panic crossed his face before he composed himself. "It's done now, Ava. I've moved everything valuable to storage." He slid a key card across the table. "Unit 743 at Secure Space on Madison Avenue." I took the key. "The house wasn't yours to sell." His expression hardened. "I did what was best for us financially." "The house was in my name only, Aaron. After I paid off the mortgage last year, the title company has halted the sale." He stood abruptly. "We'll discuss this when you're thinking more clearly. The medication is affecting your judgment." After he left, I called Sam again. He gave me a storage key. I told him, "Claims all our belongings are there." "Good," Sam said. "Let's see what he's actually kept, but wait until you're stronger. In the meantime, I've requested copies of your bank statements for the past year from all your financial institutions. I need you to verify your identity with them so they can release the information to us." 2 weeks after my surgery, when my doctor confirmed I was healing well, Lila drove me to Secure Space. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows between the rows of storage units. Unit 743 was smaller than I expected. Inside were a few cardboard boxes labeled Ava's Things in Aaron's precise handwriting, my teaching certificates from before I switched to research. Some old novels, a broken bookshelf we'd meant to donate. "This can't be everything," Lila said, looking around the nearly empty unit. But it was what we found at the back that made my blood run cold, a locked metal box hidden behind the bookshelf. "Do you know the combination?" Lila asked. I tried Aaron's birthday. Nothing. Our anniversary. Nothing. Then on a hunch I tried the date we closed on the house. The lock clicked open. Inside was a second passport for Aaron, under a slightly different name. Aaron Thomas Calder, instead of Aaron Thomas Carter. It had entry stamps from Panama and Zurich dated throughout the past year. Beneath it lay a notebook filled with transaction records, bank account numbers, and transfer authorizations, all in Aaron's handwriting. Lila looked at me, her face pale. "He was planning to leave you and taking everything of value with him," I whispered, leafing through the notebook. "My mother's paintings, grandmother's silver, my research data." We photographed everything, carefully replaced it all, and locked the unit exactly as we'd found it. Sam's face was grim when we showed him the photos later that evening at Lila's apartment. "Ava, this goes beyond a disputed house sale," he said. "These account numbers in Panama, that's a known tax haven, the altered identity, frequent trips you didn't know about. This has the hallmarks of a sophisticated financial scheme." "What do we do?" I asked. "With your permission, I'd like to bring in a law enforcement contact who specializes in financial crimes. The attempted property fraud against you might be just the tip of the iceberg." Detective Maria Ramirez from the Financial Crimes Division met us at Sam's office the following day. Her handshake was firm, her gaze direct and assessing. "Financial abuse often escalates during periods when the victim is vulnerable, like during a serious illness," she said, reviewing our evidence. "The fact that he tried to sell your house while you were in surgery shows calculated intent." Over the next 10 days, as my physical strength gradually returned, we built the case methodically. I signed releases for Detective Ramirez to access financial records. The picture that emerged was disturbing. "We've identified a pattern," Detective Ramirez explained during our third meeting. "Aaron created a shell company last year, Calder Investments, using the alternate identity we found. Then he began transferring funds from your joint accounts to this company, usually in amounts just under $10,000, to avoid triggering automatic reporting requirements." She showed me a timeline of transactions. "We've documented $342,000 moved to offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands over the past 8 months, coinciding with your diagnosis and treatment. He also took out a second mortgage on your house using forged documents 3 months ago." "How is that even possible?" I asked. "I thought there were safeguards." There are, but they can be circumvented by someone determined enough," Sam explained. "He likely used a complicit notary. We're still investigating Patricia Winters. The mortgage company should have verified with you directly. But if someone intercepted your mail or used a fake email address that looked similar to yours, he had access to my phone and email during my treatments," I said quietly. Detective Ramirez nodded grimly. "That explains it. The mortgage funds, $175,000, were wired to an account in Panama the same day they were released." Through Sam, I met Vanessa Nguyen, a forensic accountant who specialized in helping women recover from financial exploitation. "The biggest mistake abusers make," she told me over coffee, "is underestimating when a woman stops being afraid and starts getting angry." I was beyond angry now. I was resolved. Vanessa helped me freeze my credit reports, notify the IRS of potential identity theft, and begin the arduous process of documenting every unauthorized transaction. "The good news," she said, showing me spreadsheets of Aaron's activities, "is that he left a clear trail. He was careful about staying under reporting thresholds, but he wasn't careful enough about covering his digital footprints." 4 weeks after my surgery, with the criminal investigation well underway, Aaron requested to meet. He didn't know about our investigation. He thought I was still recovering, still confused, still under his control. I agreed on my terms. The restaurant was public, my phone recording in my purse, Detective Ramirez, and an officer at a nearby table. Aaron arrived, looking confident, charm turned up to full wattage. "You're looking better," he said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Much more like yourself." "I feel clearer," I replied. "Amazing what proper rest and perspective can do." He smiled, relieved that I seemed calmer. "About the house?" "Yes, about the house." I interrupted, "And about Calder Investments, and the second mortgage, and the passport under a different name." His smile froze. "What are you talking about?" I placed the photos on the table between us. "Storage Unit 743, not a great hiding place, Aaron." His face drained of color. "Ava, I can explain." "I've already heard your explanation from Detective Ramirez." I said, "She's very interested in your business partner Marcus too, and those transactions in Panama." His eyes darted around the restaurant, finally noticing Detective Ramirez watching us. "This is a misunderstanding," he said, voice low and urgent. "You're my wife." "Not anymore. I filed for divorce last week. My attorney has already submitted requests for emergency asset freezes." "You can't prove anything." "We already have." I stood up. "The grand jury meets tomorrow." As I walked away, I heard Detective Ramirez approach his table. "Aaron Thomas Carter. I'm Detective Ramirez with the Financial Crimes Division. We need to ask you some questions." The weeks following Aaron's arrest were a blur of legal proceedings. The investigation expanded as forensic accountants traced every dollar Aaron had been siphoning money, not just from me, but from his investment clients, including 3 other women whose partners had been connected to Aaron's firm, all of whom had experienced similar financial exploitation during vulnerable periods in their lives. The prosecutor, Elena Diaz, met with me regularly to prepare for the eventual trial. "Financial fraud cases are complex," she explained. "We need to establish intent, show a pattern of deception, and document the methods used. Your detailed records have been invaluable." 3 months after my surgery, I was finally strong enough to return to my research position part-time. My colleagues welcomed me back with genuine warmth, unaware of the battles I was still fighting. The preliminary hearing revealed the extent of Aaron's network. His business partner Marcus had facilitated the fraud. Patricia Winters, the notary, had knowingly falsified documents for a percentage of the proceeds. A bank employee named James Chen had helped process fraudulent wire transfers. The scheme had netted over $2.7 million from various victims. White-collar criminals often believe they're untouchable. Detective Ramirez told me after the hearing. They count on victims being too embarrassed or intimidated to come forward. 6 months after my surgery, my doctor officially declared me cancer-free. That same week, Aaron accepted a plea deal 15 years for fraud, identity theft, and financial exploitation, plus full restitution to all victims. I declined to read a victim impact statement at his sentencing. I'd already confronted him where it mattered. Instead, I channeled my energy into recovery, both physical and financial. Sam helped me navigate the complex process of clearing my credit, reclaiming my house, and recovering the stolen assets that hadn't been hidden irretrievably offshore. Vanessa guided me through rebuilding my financial security with new safeguards in place. Financial abuse leaves invisible scars. She said healing takes time. 9 months after my surgery, with my health and finances stabilizing, I stood before a room of women and men at the community center, sharing my story at the launch of the Nova Foundation, a nonprofit Vanessa Lila, and I had established to offer legal and financial aid to survivors of financial abuse. Financial exploitation thrives in silence. I told the audience, it banks on our shame, our confusion, our trust. But when we connect, when we share our stories, when we demand accountability, that's when we reclaim our power. Sam had helped us navigate the legal aspects of establishing the foundation. Detective Ramirez had connected us with other survivors. Together, we had created something meaningful from the ruins of betrayal. I looked at the crowd, at the hope and determination I saw reflected back. Aaron had tried to erase me when I was most vulnerable. Instead, I had reclaimed my name, my voice, my home, and my future. And I was just getting started.